Hi and welcome back to my channel, Sunshine Lorena. So, I'm filming this a little bit late. It's like the 8th, 9th of October, but this is my September wrap up. All the books I read in September. So I read 5 books in September, which was less than August but equal to July. I didn't read as much as I had wanted to in September. Part of the reason, you might notice, different surroundings, is we were staying somewhere else where there was some work being done where we were living, so we're back now, which is also why I read less. So yeah, let's just get straight into it, shall we? So the first one I don't have here, so wait a second. Right, got it. So my first book I read in September was Homegoing. So I read the physical book, but I also had the audiobook, which I tried a little while ago, but I just wasn't taking in the story. So I decided to get the physical book and I listened to it while I read as well, which for me, I think, yeah, it was much better for me to actually read the book, because there is a lot of detail that I don't know, when I listen to audiobook I always find myself doing other things. So yeah, so I missed a lot. But for those of you who don't know, Homegoing is the story about 2 half-sisters. Now each chapter alternates between somebody in their family line. So they're both from Ghana, and one of them ends up being married to somebody who is part of the slave trade, sells slaves from there, while the other one actually ends up becoming sold as a slave and going to America. And then it follows their family line, both their family lines in between, down through the generations. So it goes through like very important moments in history. You see things like obviously the end of slavery, crop sharing, civil rights, etc. So yeah, there is a lot of detail. It did take me a little bit longer to read, but I took my time because I just wanted to take in all the information. And I really enjoyed the fact that it's like a multi-generational story. And I guess it's nice to see kind of where their family lines end up in the end. It's really good for me. I give this 5 out of 5. I highly recommend it. It's beautifully written, so much detail, and obviously a lot of work went into this. So yes, 5 out of 5. So we start September off well. That is good. Right, Next I read Educated by Tara Westover. I listened to this on audiobook, which I got from my library. This is a memoir, and Tara was born, she's from America, and she was born into a family who are Mormon but also survivalists. So she grew up not getting any formal education at all. They didn't believe like going to the doctor. Her birth wasn't registered until she was like 9. It's when one of her older siblings needed to get registered for something, so they retrospectively kind of registered them all. So yeah, she didn't go to any school at all. So she learned, her mother was like a midwife amongst like the group of community that they had, so she used a lot of herbs and things, so she learned about that growing up. And then her father owned like a junkyard, and she helped like salvage things there as well. So yeah, she just grew up canning things for like the end of times. She had they had like bags that if something happened, they could grab and run and go with them. So yeah, that's how her childhood was, and you get lots of details about her family ties and everything in there. And it's not until she's in her mid to late teens that she decides to kind of start educating herself. So she teaches herself maths and things, and then she actually ends up getting a place at university. And this university is like it's like a Mormon university, but people aren't as kind of strict as her, because she's a bit shocked at how some of them, like the women, dress and things. So it's a bit of it's a cultural shock that she experiences, but also she learns so much things that I suppose we all take for granted being taught that when we were growing up, because she didn't have that formal education, you know. So for until I think she was 17 when she ended up going there at the university, she didn't learn about the Holocaust until then, and like the civil rights movement and things like that. So then you have like that latter part of the book is her education, and higher education, and kind of where she goes with that. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, no, it was a really interesting read. I really enjoyed it, kind of seeing another perspective of how people grew up. So yes, recommend. I didn't give it a star rating. I feel like I don't want to write somebody's personal story, you know, like it is a personal story, a memoir, an autobiography, unless I'd only rate it if I felt like I've personally connected on some sort of level. But yeah, I don't want to write somebody's story. So that's great. So that's book number 2. Then I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So this was the very first book of the Late Night Book Club, which is run by Elias Reads and Fictional Fates and Noel Gallagher. I will link all the channels below, and there was a live discussion at the end of September. So this is, it starts in the 50s, and it is, well, sorry, let me start again. So this is Evelyn Hugo, who's now in her late 70s, and then she was wanting her life story to be written, and people don't really know much, because she's very kind of reclusive. So she ends up contacting this media company, like a newspaper company, and she, for a specific person to write the book. Well, it's supposed to be an interview for this magazine, and it turns out she wants her to write the book of her life. And there's obviously some reason why, which, you know, you don't find out until much later, why she's chosen this woman, because, you know, it's, yeah, everyone's like, why would she choose her? Because she's just not like this well-known writer. So yes, she convinces her to write her life story, which wouldn't be, yeah. So it starts back off in the 1950s, and it follows her life throughout the decades. So she is an actress. I don't think I mentioned that yet. So you get that old kind of Hollywood glam. Yeah, there's lots of glamour, glitz. What I also liked is there's like little extracts sometimes of what's like kind of the gossip rags magazines, like these stories, which I quite like. I like a bit of gossip. So yes, it follows her and, well, the story of our 7 husbands. So you will see who the love of her life actually ends up being. There is a huge twist at the end, which I did not see coming. Yes, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a really enjoyable read. I don't want to say too much because I'm going to end up giving things away otherwise, but yeah. I don't want to say who my favourite husband was. Yeah, I recommend that you read this. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really, really enjoyable read for me. So after this, I read, yes, The Lonely Fajita, which I borrowed from an audiobook from my local library. It's written by Abigail Mann. It's like a comedy book. I did laugh at points, you know. It was really enjoyable for me, a nice light thing to listen to. So yeah, I did quite a few audiobooks this month. So this follows Alyssa, and it starts off like with round about her birthday. She's accidentally scheduled herself to have a cervical cervical smear test done on her birthday, and then yeah, her boyfriend just doesn't seem that bothered. I don't know, her life just seems, it's just, her life is a bit of a mess. But yeah, her boyfriend ends up breaking up with her, and because this is set in London, she's doing like an internship basically, and has no money, she ends up going and applying for this program where you live with like an elderly person, and basically like you do things with them. I think you're supposed to, like, you work about 15 hours a week, and you get free accommodation. So that's kind of the turning point for her when she moves in with this woman called Annie. Her life really starts to kind of change. I don't want to say anything more than that. So really enjoyable read, really light-hearted, you know, like I said, there's some comedy and things in there, so I give it a 3 out of 5 star. So yeah. And then I read This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. So yeah, I've got the physical book as you can see here, so I read it, but I also got the audiobook from the library, so which is actually read by him as well. I do like it when it is actually read by the author, because you get, I don't know, you feel more like they convey things, I think, in the way that they intended to, so I feel like you get the best out of it. So these are diary entries when he was a junior doctor. So he took like notes and things, and it's like years later he decided to put this into a book. There is comedy moments in there as well that make you laugh. So yeah, it kind of gives you an insight to what it's like to be a junior doctor, the amount of hours they actually work, how it messes up their like social life and everything, just the sheer hard work that everything they go through. He specialises in gynecology, so that's his speciality. So you're not seeing anything. It's not like he's dealing with like lots of deaths or anything. So it's not really kind of sad in that sense. It's, you know, a lot of like, yeah, comedy moments in here. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I gave this no, I didn't rate it, sorry, did not rate it again, because, you know, it's a personal story to someone, and this was my last book of the month, so that was really good. So yeah, 5 books, not too bad. This one took me to book number 28, and I think it was back in July I hit my target of 12 books for the year, because yeah, I had a reading slump and I wasn't very optimistic. So I decided, I think I did it in my wrap up video or something, that I would do 30 books the rest of the year. So obviously I'm going to read more than that, and I'm not even going to bother to reevaluate that goal, because I'm just going to go read as much as I can and see how it goes, and then next year I can give myself a reading goal that is more realistic based on how I'm reading at the moment. But yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm really enjoying the amount of books I'm reading now. I'm back into reading, so it's great. And yes, I don't want to, that's all my books, you know, lots of reading in October, so there'll be things coming up, because in the UK it is Black History Month, so I am reading some books in relation to that. But then also I'm going to take part, my plan is to take part in the Fortnight Frights Readathon, which is, I think it starts on the 18th of October, and so I'm able to kind of split my reading between those 2 different things. But yeah, I'll leave a link to the readathon and everything below. But thank you for watching me ramble on about these books I read in September, even though I'm doing this kind of late, but I am going to edit this and get it up as soon as possible. I'm hoping Sunday. But yes, thank you for taking the time to watch, and yes, comment, like, subscribe. I cannot speak today. Comment, like, subscribe if you want to, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.